Okay. Okay. Yeah. صباح الخير. إيه، كتير حلو انه الواحد يكون يعني جاي على المدرسة عم بتضحك ومبسوط وعارف انه ما في عنده صف. اوكي. طيب، بس اذا بتريدوا خلينا نلتزم بالوقت الساعة 8 الصباح. اوكي من فضلكم. ونمرة اثنين كمان اللبس يكون يعني لبس العادي، بلا المايو، انا شايف المايوهات رح تشتغل. اوكي. فاذا بتريدوا بنطلون عادي، قميص، تي شيرت، ما في عندي مشكله، بس يعني بالتي هي احسن. بعدين مستر عمار زوجته مش هون يصير يتطلع
Test, 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 test. أعلى شوي. تست تست تست. مس دانا. اوكي الو. ايه حطيت. عم تسمعيني هلا؟ تست. تست 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 تست. ما في صوت. قبل شوي كيف يعني؟ طب تشيك السبيكرز. تست تست تست. اه ليه كيف؟ اوكي listen. Okay, good morning, and really sorry for the delay. You know the females, how they're always late. Today we're going to start the presentation. Before you start with your work on using TPACK framework on how to effectively integrate technology. Now, before we start with that, I prefer to start with this paradox. Good teachers always fail, and bad teachers always succeed. Now, in the first instance, it doesn't make sense, but if you think about it, and if you talk to any good teacher that you think is a very good teacher and ask him about a lesson plan that went really well, the chances are is that he would tell you that it did not go really well, that there's always room for improvement, that the lesson was not very successful. And that's why, from their perspective, from the perspective of a good teacher, they think they failed because their lesson could always be improved. Okay? If you talk to a bad teacher, whatever the lesson is, he would say, thumbs up. I've been successful, the lesson was great. Or he would say, the problem is with the students. And I'm a good teacher. And so this is the paradox. And this is why we're here. This is why today we're here. Because we're all good teachers, because we have to develop ourselves, because whatever we give to our students in the lesson is not enough. And because we are good teachers, we always fail. Because we are good teachers, we always fail. Okay? Just think about it. Talk to a good teacher and ask them about their lessons. Okay? Ask them about, did it go well with you? The chances are they would say that I failed, or that the lesson did not really work well. I have to do this, I have to tweak that, I have to improve it the next time I do the lesson. And that's why, from their perspective, they fail. Okay? And we're here today, we're here for the next 8 days because we're good teachers and because we have to fail. Okay? Any questions of this paradox? Okay, so, and this is followed by a quote about learning. It says by Seymour Report, says the skills that you can learn when you're at school will not be applicable. They will be obsolete. They will be forgotten by the time you get into the workplace and need them, except for one skill. So whatever you were taught in school or in college, everything you were taught are now obsolete. Just think about it. Whatever you've been taught in college doesn't really make sense now, does it? Except for one skill. What do you think the skill is? Which is? Excellent. So this is a skill which is the ability to, sorry. Okay. So this is the ability of being able to learn. And that's why we're also here. And this is a skill that we need to develop. We learn every day, but we have to focus on learning through reflection, through purposeful professional development. Okay? Now, professional development comes in many forms. It can be informal. You can develop yourself in many ways, and can be formal like this one. Okay? So you're not bound to workshops and conferences to develop yourself, because I cannot train you, I cannot develop you, you can develop yourselves. Okay? So it only needs a mind shift from I'm content with wherever I am to I'm always failing. I need to develop myself. And that's the key for development. Okay? So I started that because I want to make sure that these 8 days are not because we don't have anything to do, because we don't have anything to do. We have the chance to sit together as a learning community, to collaborate and improve things, because our students deserve more. Our students deserve more. Okay? So, what we're going to do, we're going to do lots of this. We're going to do lots of collaboration. We're going to do lots of discussions using discussion forum, working with the colleagues, and at the end you're going to present your lesson and so on. And we're going to do some of this. The presentation can be in the computer lab, can be in the science lab, can be in the classroom, but we're not going to do this. Okay? We're not going to listen to each other. I'm going to listen to me rolling on and on so you can sleep. Okay? Unless you want to. Okay? So, let's start with, why is it, or is it, the most exciting time to be a teacher? Do you think this is the most exciting time to be a teacher? What do you think? Why is it the most exciting time to be a teacher in the 21st century? Who can tell me? Is it about technology? Okay? Ever-changing society, ever-changing development all the time. What else? Let's talk about in the classroom, in schools, with the students. Why is it the most exciting time? More challenges, yeah. And this makes it exciting, right? At the same time, it's also frustrating because there are lots of promises that the new age promises that we're going to develop our student skills for 21st century skills, but it's not happening in many areas in many countries around the world. And there's a reason for that. We're going to discuss one of the reasons why it's not happening. Okay? So, exciting time because students can work together For example, in developing robots, in programming them, in using mathematical formulas and programming the robot's behavior. It's exciting time because you can use augmented reality. Actually, I use this with my son at home. It's amazing. You can just use the augmented reality and interact with the textbook. It's exciting time because you can use technologies in the classroom, like a smart board. It's exciting time because students can access information everywhere, anytime. And it's also exciting because they can work together without your role as a sage on the stage, without your role as being the transmitter of knowledge. You're no more the one who's going to give them the information. You're the one who's going to help them make sense out of the learning. And that's the changing role of the teacher. And if you don't see that, and this is a huge problem, if you don't see how your role is changing, it's a serious problem. If you think about when we were kids, the only source of information were our teachers in the library, right? The only source of information are our teachers, library, parents, right? Now we can access information everywhere, right? So that's the issue. Now, also think about what happens in the classroom. Now, whenever you ask them a question, they don't think about, I'm going to search this question at home. Okay? And many of the students do, and many students do search online, and they come back to you and argue about this answer, this question. Okay? So you know more transmitters of knowledge, and you have to change the role from a transmitter of knowledge to facilitator of knowledge, to orchestrating learning among the students. Okay? It's an exciting time because you can have 3D printers. I don't know if you heard about 3D printers. Students can design sketches on sketch pads, or they can do their own blueprints, and they can print out actual objects using the 3D printer. They can actually be designers in the classroom. It's an exciting time because you have evolving technologies like wearable technology like this one that will be pervasive in a few years. So technology is evolving every year. Every year is evolving, and it's hard to follow up with this evolve of technology. It's exciting because in the 21st century, you have lots of skills you have to develop in our students that we've not been taught before, not in college, not in school. And it's also a challenge. But there are lots of problems. If you think about it, you have lots of problems in our school and lots of our other schools in the world. Okay? Let's start with the first problem. First problem is that we have lots of tools. You can be overwhelmed by the tools that you have under your disposal. You have hundreds of thousands of tools online that you can access for free, and you can use with the students, and you can use with yourselves. And I'm sure that you know most of them because you use them personally. You have Script, you have Vimeo, you have lots of these tools that can be accessed, and they are for free. There are lots of tools. And this presents an overload of information, an overload of tools you can use in the classroom. So this is a problem, because you don't know where to start. What tool should I use? What tool would be a good affordance for an activity in the classroom? Second, the problem is that our approach is technocentric, which means that we start with a tool. We focus on the tool first, and then we go back and see how the activity would fit with the tool. And this is a real problem, because we are teachers, and our role is to facilitate the student learning. And thus, our focus should be on the learning and not on the tool itself. So the problem is that, and I've noticed that with a lot of teachers here, because I want to do lots of these informal discussions, their focus is on the tool itself. And this is a huge problem, and you see that when you start working on the TPACK framework. Okay? Problem also is that we're using old pedagogy. We're using old ways of teaching with new tools. And that's a problem. Okay? So we're trying to have students memorize using new tools that facilitate creativity or creation of or to construct new objects. And this is a problem. You have to use new pedagogies. Pedagogy means, you know my meaning of the word pedagogy? Pedagogy. How you teach. Yeah, good ways of teaching. Okay? So these can be based on research, this can be based on good practice and so on. Like, for example, how to, your knowledge on how to put students into groups, how to facilitate collaboration in the classroom, using mnemonics in the classroom and so on. These are pedagogies, ways of teaching. Okay? And most of us are using old pedagogies that belong to the 20th century. Okay? And we're using it for 21st century, and this is a huge problem for us and for the students. And this creates a huge gap between us and the students. Whatever they do at home and whatever they do in class, there's a huge gap. And that's where you see the problem. And then there's another problem, which is the evolving technology. Technology is evolving in a way very rapid that we cannot keep up with it. Okay? So whatever you know last year about, for example, Google Apps has changed this year. Whatever you know about Moodle, for example, last year that you worked on is changing because now we were using version 2.6. Last year it was version 2.5, which is way different than 2.5. And so how can we have the effort and the time to relearn the evolving technologies? Okay? And this is a problem. Now, solutions. What are the solutions? First, focus on learning. Don't focus on technology. Don't focus on the tool itself. Now, a tool can be used in class to facilitate learning. Sometimes you don't have to use technology in the classroom. Sometimes the technology will only hinder learning. So, start with the learning. Start with the learning target. Start with the standards. Okay? Then design activities around that, and then you choose the technology, which is the last thing you have to do. Okay? Yes? لحظة. Okay. So, and we need to focus on a roadmap. You know, for example, we give a lot of some of the workshops, you're interested in some technologies and so on, but there's no roadmap for the school. There's no roadmap for your integration of technology, and that's why we have to have a roadmap for that, a clear plan for that, and this should be done through a framework to design our integration of technology in the classroom. Okay? So a haphazard workshops, haphazard integration of technology in the classroom won't work. We have to have a roadmap for our school. We have to have a roadmap for your integration of technology, and this can be only done with a framework that guides you on how to design a lesson, which is a technology-rich lesson. Okay? Another solution can be changing the pedagogy in a 21st century pedagogy, the new pedagogy of the age, to facilitate, for example, to have clear, transparent objectives, to have collaborative mediums, and so on. These are some of the 21st century pedagogies that can be used with technology. So again, problem, using old pedagogy from 20th century with new tools and with our students won't work. We have to adopt new pedagogies of 21st century. Okay? So these are some of the solutions that we can use. First, focus on learning. Don't focus on the tool. The last thing you can think about is the tool. Don't start with the technology. Oh, I like this technology. I have to use it with my students in the classroom. This won't work. Okay? This will only hinder the students' learning. Now, you might go into the classroom and say, "Whoa, they were really engaged." Yes, they were. And that's because of something called novelty effect. Anything which is new, they'll be engaged in. But if you use it every day throughout the year, I'm sure they won't be engaged. And they might be engaged, but they won't have the achievement from that engagement. So these are two separate things. I can be engaged with an activity, but I want to have the learning outcome from that activity. So that's why you have to focus on learning. And focusing on learning, you have to have a clear objective and clear standards. What is the learning target from this activity? Okay? So let's start with the bodies of knowledge. The first question is, what do teachers need to know for effective teaching without technology? What do they need to know for effective teaching without technology? Now, the first thing that you need to know, which is obvious, content knowledge, which is, for example, you should know mathematics, you should know algebra, you should know calculus, you should know biology, chemistry, art, PE, and so on, right? You cannot teach that unless you know it, right? Second thing, they need to have pedagogical knowledge, which is PK, which is a good way of teaching that subject, okay? Like how to regulate discussions in the classroom, how to have students collaborate in a presentable manner, how to have debates in the classroom, how to facilitate research with the students, and so on. These are pedagogies that a teacher should know to be able to teach the subject, but they are not separate. They're not separate. The interaction between them, the interplay between them is where good teaching comes in, is how to use content plus how to teach that content properly together would have your PCK, which is pedagogical content knowledge. Together, they will construct the interplay of them together would result in the PCK. Now, if you think about it, I'm sure that you know a lot of professors and teachers that really knew the subject, but don't know how to teach it. Okay? Now think about yourselves in the classroom. Which one do you know more? Do you know more about content more than pedagogy? Do you know more about pedagogy ways of teaching the subject more than the content? Okay? Think about how you do that in the classroom, and think about how you can use them both to for effective teaching. Okay? So this is a body of knowledge, which means that you have to enlarge this knowledge. Okay? So if you're weak in content but good in pedagogy, you have to increase your content knowledge. If you're good in content knowledge but you're weak in pedagogical knowledge, you have to increase the pedagogical knowledge, and so on and so forth. Okay? So you can increase the PCK, the interplay of the PCK. Okay? This was suggested by Schulman in 1980 in Harvard University, and it's been a standard of what makes an effective teacher. Okay? The interplay of PCK. We're going to call this PCK. Memorize this acronym because you're going to use it a lot. Now, that was in 1980, before technology was pervasive. Now, with the advancement of technology, what do teachers need to know for effective teaching with technology? Okay? And this makes it very hard for the teachers, because technology is not alone. You don't have the teaching effectively with content, pedagogy, and technologies alone. Now, I know you can use, you can know how to browse, you can know how to use PowerPoint, and so on and so forth, but this does not mean you know how to effectively use it in the classroom. Okay? And so, there should be an interplay or integration between technology and PCK, which is in this case, this one. So they have to have an interplay between them. Okay? Now the first phase, which is this one, is technological content knowledge. Okay? This is how you use technology. You know how to use technology. You know how to use Instagram. You know how to use Twitter. You know how to use a robot, for example. Okay? You know how to use programming, coding, and so on. Lots of things you can use. And you know mathematics, you know science, and so on. But you don't know how to teach it. And this is a problem. Okay? So reflect about the classroom. Do you think you know how to use technology? And you have a lot of knowledge in the content, but you don't have pedagogical knowledge, then you have a TCK. Okay? A TCK. Should be a TCK here. Now, the other one is technological pedagogical knowledge, which means that you know how to use technology and you know how to use it properly in the classroom, but you don't know a lot about content. Okay, I think we have to focus here. But you don't know a lot about the content. This is where the technological pedagogical content knowledge lies in, TPK. Okay? Now, the last one is the TPACK. We call it the TPACK. This is the sweet spot. This is where effective teaching with technology comes in. This is the interplay of pedagogy or pedagogical knowledge, your content knowledge, and technology together. You interweave them. You know how to use technology, plus you know how you have a content knowledge and you have pedagogical knowledge. You use them together to have an effective teaching with technology. Okay? So what have we been taught? Like workshops before, or you attend any conference that, oh, this is a great tool, you have to use it with the students. This is not enough. This is only TK, technological knowledge. How can you use it properly with the students? This is TPK. How to use it properly with the students in mathematics? This is TPCK, which is TPACK. We're going to unpack it in the next 4 days. Okay? So again, how to use technology properly, teach it properly to the students in mathematics or English or chemistry, because it differs on how to use it in English or how to use it in mathematics. Okay? And this is what we're going to focus on. This sweet spot here. Okay? The interplay of content, pedagogy, and technological knowledge is the sweet spot that you have to target. Okay? Now, a lot of surveys that test your TPK, I'm not going to use them, but you have to reflect on your teaching. Which one do you have the particular knowledge, the strength in? Is it content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, technological content knowledge, technological pedagogical knowledge, or the TPACK? Okay? So, but this is not only thing, because context plays a role. If you look at the role of the context, context means the context of the school, where the school is, the access to information, the classrooms, the classroom design, the students, the culture. Do you have access to internet in the classroom? Do you have access to mobile phones in the classroom or not? Do you have access to tablets in the classroom or not? And so on. So the content differs a lot. And so I can use the same tool here and the same tool of Jordan or the same tool in Lebanon, for example, but I have to use it differently because the context says how I have to use it. Okay? So context gives you the background of the TPCK, which is the TPACK, how to use technology properly and effectively based on the context of the school, because every school has a different context. So you have to think about your students' knowledge, what they know about technology, what they know about the content, what they know about how they learn. You have to think about the classroom size, the layout of the students in the classroom. You have to think about the administration, for example. You have to think about even the organization of the school and so on. Okay? So these affect how you integrate technology in the classroom. Okay? So you have to think about it every time you design a lesson. Now, how to use, this is the topic of the workshop, which is how to use the TPACK framework for effective technology integration in the classroom or in teaching. Okay? What we're going to do, the workshop is going to be blended. It's going to be online using Moodle and face-to-face discussions and collaboration. Okay? We're going to have self-access to lots of case studies of teachers who use the TPACK framework and integrated technology. They're going to be textual and video-based. You're going to watch them on video. You're going to read about their case studies. Okay? And you're going to have also to look at scenarios and see how it lies with the TPACK framework. Okay? So it's going to be self-paced and personalized. How is it self-paced and personalized? Because we have different backgrounds. We have different knowledge about technology. We have different knowledge about teaching and learning. We have different knowledge about the content too. And so we cannot learn at the same time. Okay? And this is different than any other workshop you will attend because we think differently and we think in different intervals. Okay? And so, for example, a description of for example, a teacher that would reflect on how they use the pendulum, for example, in the lab. I might watch it more than once because I'm not sure how to use it. And so it's personalized because like you can control how many times you see it. You can control how many times you engage with the information. Okay, it's going to be face-to-face and online using the Moodle website. You're going to see scenarios, scenario A to E, 5 scenarios you have to look at on different subjects. Okay, so you might be a science teacher, but you have to look at scenario in mathematics scenario, and you have to see how it lies with the TPACK framework. Okay, you're going to do evaluation and reflection on TPACK. You're going to do lots of discussion forums. Now, interestingly, discussion forums is a very important part of the workshop or the later workshop, because when we reflect on something, when you write, you have time to think about it, and it's there. Okay, when you only talk about it, it's there for a period of time, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and so on. Then you forget about it. Okay, but when you think about it, you write it, you can remember it better. Okay, you're going to collaborate on redesigning lessons. You're going to select the lesson, which is hard to deliver without technology, and you're going to use it to redesign it using the TPACK framework with your colleagues. You're going to work in teams of 3. You're going to deliver your lesson in class or in the lab or wherever you want. Okay? That's after you learn what TPACK is, and after you reflect on the case studies of other teachers around the world, and you look at the scenarios and reflect that in the discussion forum. As you move on with the activities, you'll be unlocking digital badges. Okay? For example, if you finish the discussion forum, you get the reflective practitioner digital badge. Okay, you'll have lots of badges, and once you're done with the course, this will give you another badge. Now, we're going to discuss the badges after we're done on how to link it to share it with the world. For example, with anyone else, you want to share this badge as an evidence that you've been involved in such and such and such. We're going to discuss how to do that. Okay, it's like a certificate, but it's like you can pack them up together and just send them to anyone to see it, okay, as evidence of your activities. And of course, you're going to have certificate of completion when all requirements are met, because Moodle tracks every activity. Okay, I'm going to discuss it now, how it's done. To do this, we're going to do lots of things, everything. Okay, so I'm going to just show you how. I sent you an email yesterday. Have you checked your emails today? If not, do check them now. There's a link to the Moodle website, and there's an enrollment key. Okay, use the enrollment key to enroll yourselves in the course. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to navigate Moodle now in like 5 minutes, and how to work on the activities. Okay, and how to track yourselves, whether you finish this activity or discussion forum and so on, to see where you are with the course. Okay. This is the Moodle website. You can see this boy, the flying, soaring in the sky. So, as you already know, now you've used Moodle in the first semester, as you already know, you have to log in or sign in with Google. Okay, when you click to sign in with Google, use the school email account. Okay, use the school email account. Now this takes you to the now, because I'm trying to log in with a Gmail, it says it's invalid because it's bound to only the school domain. Okay, so if you try to log in with any other Gmail, it won't work. All right, so you have to use the school email. I'm going to log in as an administrator just to show you how it's done. So once you log in, if you're not enrolled in the course, you have to enroll in it. You have to go to scroll down to you have these categories, faculty professional development courses, and click on using TPACK Framework for effective education, technology, integration, and teaching. And once you click that, it will ask you for an enrollment key. Just enter the enrollment key that I sent you via email yesterday, and you see this page. Okay. All right. So before we start with the main page here, on the right-hand side, you have the navigation page that navigates all the pages in the course. You can just, if it's too hard for you to navigate, just use this plus and minus button. Okay, so you can navigate all the parts in the course. If you look at the parts in the course on the left-hand side, the first one introduces the objectives. You have the notice board. Whenever I want to announce anything, you receive that directly. And then you have the sections. The first section is Introduction to TPACK and Unpacking TPACK. You click on that and gets you to the activities in that section, and so on and so on. Now, some of the activities are linked. For example, the last part, if you go there, the last part you cannot enter that last part because it's linked to other activities. You have to finish other activities so it can be allowed to do this one, the last one, okay? And some of them are linked to dates. For example, the first two should be done by tomorrow, maximum by tomorrow, okay? The introduction and the TPACK case studies should be done by tomorrow. On the right-hand side, you can see also upcoming events, and you have the progress bar. Now the progress bar tags the activities. Are you done with the activity or not? If it's green, then you're done with that. If it's blue, then you have to do it. If it's red, then it's you missed it. Okay? You cannot do it, and thus you cannot complete the course. Okay? So when you just hover your cursor there, it says which one you finished them and which one I have, for example, to do. Okay, you scroll down. Once you get the badges, you can see them here. And we're going to discuss later how to export it out of Moodle so you can share it with the world. Okay. Of course, you have the profile of people there. You can just see who's there on the course with you. And of course, you've seen it on the slides. We're going to do an information stream on Twitter. If you use Twitter, if you don't use it, that's okay. But we're going to use it for information stream. For example, you can reflect just quick reflections on this course. And you have to use the hashtag, which is DJSPD14. DJSPD14. You can take photos and just hashtag it and so on. So you can have a stream of information, and it's there on Twitter. Okay, so if you start today, we are going to do today and tomorrow. You go to the first part. Okay, now this first part, face-to-face, we're done with it. The second one, go deeper, understanding TPACK, self-access. You click on that, it's a book. It's like a book, okay? If you look on the right-hand side, there's a table of contents, okay? So the first part is TPACK 101. There are some videos you have to watch to understand more about TPACK, because I explained that now. I'm sure that 80% of you don't know what TPACK is, okay? So what you need to do, and that's why it's personalized, that's why it's on your page. So you just read the learning outcomes from this part and watch the videos, and then you reflect back on the discussion forum what you understood from the videos about TPACK. What is TPACK and how it works with the integration technology, okay? So once you're done with that, you go to the scenarios. You start with the TPACK scenarios, okay? And the tasks. You have 2 tasks for every scenario. You have to reply on discussion forum 6 times in this part, okay? The first one on TPACK 101, and the second for the 5 scenarios. You read them and see how they lie with the TPACK. There are some questions to guide you on reflecting on the TPACK, okay? For example, this first scenario is about the integration of technology in PE. Okay, even though you're a math teacher or science teacher, you have to look at how it can be integrated with the PE. The second one is about math, the third one is about science, and so on. Okay? So you have to reflect about it, look at the TPACK framework, how does it transform to the TPACK framework, how can you evaluate that teacher based on the TPACK framework. Second, once you're done with that, okay, once you're done with the, you can download the TPACK framework from here. Discussion forum is there for you. You can reply, or you can start your own topic, okay, reflecting on the scenarios. Second, you have, I'm going to use the navigation here. You have the TPACK case studies. Now, these are real teachers reflecting on the integration of technology. Now, what you need to do is that, this is important. What you need to do is that when you go to the case studies and you click on the book there, as a book, and you look at the table of contents, you have to reflect and discuss on 2 case studies, not the whole thing, okay? For example, if you're math, you can reflect on 2 case studies in math elementary and math high school. If you're English, you can reflect on English high school and elementary, or English and social studies, okay? So you have to choose 2 case studies to evaluate and look how the teachers use technology, and look at how they decided on activity types in the classroom, okay? And reflect on that in the discussion forum, okay? Yeah. Mr. Abbas? Okay. So these are the scenarios and the case studies. And of course, the progress bar tells you whether you're done with it or not. For example, in the scenario case, you have to post 6 posts, 1 on the TPACK 101 and 5 on each on all scenarios. If you don't do that, then the progress bar will tell you that you're not done with that. Okay? It shows you a blue color, the color blue at the beginning, that you're not done with that. Okay? So it tells you visually how it's done. At the same time, while you're engaging with the Moodle, think about how it can be used later when you start working with Moodle as teachers. Think about how it can be used with the students, for example. How we can track the students' activities on Moodle. Okay? Right. So for today and tomorrow, you have to finish the case studies and the scenarios. Then we're going to start working in teams, okay, on redesigning your lessons using the TPACK framework. Okay? So first thing, you have to understand it. Okay? You have to see teachers doing it, using it. Okay? To understand more how it's done in practice. Okay? And you're going to understand also how to use activity types. What kind of activities should I use to integrate technology. And this is the fascinating thing about it, because there are lots of activities that you can, on every subject, on mathematics and social studies and sciences and so on, okay? You have to do them all before you start creating your lesson and evaluating your lesson, okay? Of course, it's similar to Bloom's taxonomy. You understand, you apply, okay? You synthesize, analyze, and so on. And at the end, you create and evaluate your own lesson, okay? Because you cannot create a lesson without understanding what it is, what is TPACK framework, and how it's done, and how it can help you with integrating technology effectively, okay? So one thing to keep in mind before you go, think about learning, don't think about the tool, okay? Think about the learning, don't think about the tool. The last thing you have to think about is the tool, okay? Any questions before we start? Sorry? Roman key. Roman key. شو حتى يرجع SPD 14 هلا بشوف لك اياها ظبط لك اياها. Guys, excuse me, Mr. Khalil. The Roman key is TPACK 14, not the just PD. TPACK 14. TPACK 14. Again, TPACK 14. بعت So again, TPACK 14. Uh, uh. Okay, try it please. مش الحال. All right, do you have any questions before we move on? Now, we set up some classrooms, guys, please. We set up some classrooms at the first floor, tables and so on, but please, in every class, no more than 4 or 5 teachers, because the more you have teachers in the same classroom, the more you're distracted, okay? So you have these classrooms upstairs. You can use them. Next to Mr. Samah, yes, okay? So, of course, if you have any technical problems, any difficulty navigating the course, you don't know how to use it, we are here to help you, okay? We're here to help you. Do you have any questions? It's self-paced, but you have to know that by tomorrow, you have to finish the case studies and the scenarios, okay? Understood? منيح شو هون لا فوق منيح المفروض ايه بصير اسهل ايه هون عم بشتغل نفس الراوتر so there's a load على الراوتر so if you work on different routers it would work okay it's a very high speed internet so you don't have to worry about it yeah. Now if you don't have a laptop you can use the computer lab if you don't have any laptop you can use the computer lab okay and I hope you got your if you don't have headphones you can also supply it with the headphones okay TPACK 101. Okay. Introduction and the videos.
طيب
عجبتني الجو ديبر.
هذا اللي فهمها علي.